Imagine a time when warriors wore armor that weighed as much as a person. A time when battles were decided not just by strength, but by strategy, cunning, and the gods themselves. The secrets of ancient Greek warfare have been buried under centuries of dust until now. Join us as we uncover the untold stories of legendary warriors, groundbreaking tactics, and the fierce rivalry. Ancient Greece is often hailed as the cradle of Western civilization, and its military system played a pivotal role in shaping the ancient world. Greek warfare, in its early days, was born out of necessity. As the various city-states of Greece constantly battled for dominance, territory, and resources, these early conflicts were not only about fighting for survival, but also about proving strength and power to the gods and the world. The formation of the hoplite soldier marked a defining moment in Greek military history. Hoplites were heavily armed infantrymen who fought in tight formations known as phalanxes. This formation was revolutionary because it relied on the coordination and unity of the soldiers, rather than individual combat prowess. The hoplite carried a large shield, a spear, or a helmet, cuirass body armor, and greaves shin protection. The hoplite's shield, known as the aspis, was large enough to cover both himself and part of the man beside him, making the phalanx a nearly impenetrable force. The idea behind the phalanx was that the soldiers would fight as one cohesive unit, using their shields to protect one another and their spears to strike down the enemy. This required immense discipline and training, as each soldier had to trust that the man to his left and right would do their part. This unity of purpose was one of the secrets to Greek military success. Unlike the more fragmented and individualistic warfare styles of other ancient civilizations, Greek warfare emphasized the collective strength of the city-state citizens coming together to defend their home. The role of the gods in Greek warfare wasn't just about strategy and tactics. It was deeply intertwined with religion. The ancient Greeks believed that their gods influenced the outcome of battles. As a result, military campaigns were often preceded by religious ceremonies to seek divine favor. Priests would perform sacrifices to Apollo, Athena, or Ares, hoping for the gods' protection or guidance. Warriors were not only fighting for their families and cities, but also for the gods. A defeat in battle could be seen as a sign of the gods' displeasure, while victory was considered a blessing from the divine. This connection between religion and warfare made battles even more intense, as warriors believed they were fighting not just for land or honor, but for the very will of the gods themselves. The Greek concept of arateia excellence was also deeply ingrained in warfare. To fight valiantly, to be courageous and strong in battle, was to achieve honor and earn the favor of the gods. Heroes like Achilles and Hector became legendary. Not just the phalanx formation was the cornerstone of Greek military strength, and its rise in importance marked a significant shift in ancient warfare. As the Greek city-states, particularly Athens, Sparta, and Thebes, faced one another in battle, the phalanx became a symbol of unity and strategy that would shape the way battles were fought for centuries. But the phalanx wasn't just a formation. It was a carefully crafted strategy that involved a variety of tactical innovations that allowed the Greeks to maintain an edge on the battlefield. The phalanx formation. A revolutionary tactic, the phalanx was a tight, rectangular mass of hoplites, typically 8 to 12 men deep. Each hoplite's shield, the aspis, overlapped with the one beside him, creating a near-impenetrable barrier. The soldiers would march together with their spears extended forward, presenting a wall of shields and spear points to the enemy. The key to the phalanx's success was its discipline. Every soldier in the formation had to work in perfect unison to maintain the shield wall and strike effectively. Any lapse in coordination could result in a disastrous collapse, leaving the formation vulnerable. One of the most important aspects of the phalanx was its flexibility in the face of different enemies. The Greeks didn't just use it as a defensive tool, they adapted the phalanx for offensive maneuvers as well. For example, the left wing of the phalanx was typically the strongest and the one the general would focus on. If the enemy's lines were broken, the phalanx could rapidly shift tactics, flanking the opposing forces or exploiting weak points in their formation. The deep rows of soldiers meant that if the first line of hoplites was pushed back, there were plenty more behind them to keep pressing forward. The Spartan phalanx, a model of perfection. No city-state in Greece exemplified the power and discipline of the phalanx better than Sparta. The Spartans were renowned for their military training, beginning at a young age with the agoge, a state-sponsored education system that prepared boys for the harsh life of a soldier. Spartan warriors, known as Spartiates, trained to fight as part of the phalanx, and were often considered the best soldiers in the ancient world. The Spartans' use of the phalanx was considered the height of military perfection. They were able to maintain impeccable discipline on the battlefield, keeping their ranks tight and their shields interlocked. During battles like the Battle of Plataea 479 BCE and the Battle of Leuctra 371 BCE, Spartan hoplites proved that their military discipline and unwavering unity made them almost invincible. However, the rise of the Theban phalanx in the 4th century BCE marked a turning point. The Thebans, led by their general Epaminondas, innovated on the traditional phalanx formation by adopting an oblique formation, where the left wing of the phalanx was heavily reinforced. This innovation allowed them to smash through the weaker right wing of the enemy's formation and create an opening to flank the rest of their forces. This tactic was revolutionary and gave Thebes a temporary edge over Sparta in battles like Leuctra and Mantinea, challenging the long-standing dominance of Spartan military supremacy. The influence of cavalry and the changing face of warfare, while the phalanx was a remarkable strategy, it had its limitations. The phalanx was highly effective in battles on open terrain, but could be vulnerable in more irregular or mountainous landscapes. The solution to this challenge came in the form of cavalry. The Greeks were quick to realize the importance of mounted soldiers, especially in battles where speed and maneuverability were essential. In addition to the heavy hoplite infantry, the cavalry began to play a more prominent role. Cavalry units were used to scout, harass, and flank enemy formations, exploiting gaps in the phalanx and creating opportunities for the infantry to strike. The Athenian cavalry was particularly skilled in using its mobility to outmaneuver opponents, and they often played a crucial role in the success of battles like the Battle of Chaeronea, 338 BCE, where Philip II of Macedon used his cavalry to decisively break the Greek lines. Despite its heavy reliance on infantry, the Greeks' understanding of the importance of cavalry, along with their innovation in the use of, while the hoplite and phalanx formations on land defined Greek military prowess. Their naval power was equally significant in shaping the course of Greek history. As the Greek city-states expanded across the Aegean and beyond, their naval capabilities played a crucial role in securing dominance over trade routes, protecting coastlines, and winning battles. The story of Greek naval warfare is not only about ships and sailors, but also about strategic ingenuity and the use of the sea as a battlefield. The rise of the Athenian navy by the 5th century BCE, Athens had developed one of the most formidable navies in the ancient world. The Athenian navy was a crucial force during the Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE, in which Athens battled Sparta for supremacy over Greece. Athens, with its strategic position along the coast and its vast maritime empire, recognized the importance of controlling the seas to maintain its power. The backbone of the Athenian navy was the trireme, a type of warship that was fast, maneuverable, and deadly in battle. The trireme was powered by 3 rows of oars on each side, which allowed it to reach speeds that were unmatched by most other ships of the time. The ship was equipped with a bronze ram at the bow, designed to smash into enemy ships and sink them. The trireme's agility and speed made it the perfect weapon for naval combat, and the Athenian sailors, or hoplites trained for sea combat, were some of the most skilled in the world. The Battle of Salamis, 480 BCE, was fought between the Greek city-states and the Persian Empire, stands as one of the most significant naval battles in ancient history. The Greek fleet, under the leadership of Athenian commander Themistocles, used clever tactics to defeat the much larger Persian fleet. By luring the Persians into the narrow straits of Salamis, Themistocles forced them into a confined space where their larger, slower ships couldn't maneuver effectively. The Greek fleet, with its smaller, more nimble triremes, decimated the Persians. Turning the tide of the war and securing Greece's independence from Persian control, naval warfare tactics. Greek naval battles were often won or lost through clever tactics rather than sheer numbers. The Greek ships, particularly the Athenian triremes, relied on speed and maneuverability to outflank and outmaneuver their enemies. The goal of most naval battles was to ram the enemy ships, causing them to sink or become immobilized. This was done by charging at the enemy with the bronze ram at the front of the ship, a tactic that required precision timing and skill. The Greeks also used decoys and feigned retreats to trick their enemies. During the Battle of Arginusi 46 BCE, the Athenians used a strategy of luring the Spartan fleet into a vulnerable position by pretending to retreat. Once the Spartans followed, the Athenians turned around and attacked with full force, catching the Spartans off guard. Such tactics showcased the high level of strategic thinking that Greek naval commanders employed during battle. The role of naval warfare in Greek politics. The significance of naval power wasn't just limited to military victories. It had a profound impact on Greek politics. The control of the seas allowed Athens to build a vast empire by establishing colonies and trade networks throughout the Mediterranean. Athens' naval dominance provided the city with wealth and influence, making it the cultural and economic center of the Greek world. The powerful navy also played a key role in defending the Greek city-states against foreign threats, particularly the invasion of the Persians. The navy also contributed to the development of democracy in Athens. The sailors who manned the triremes were often lower-class citizens, while Greek warfare was undeniably shaped by its innovative tactics, strategies, and powerful military formations. The role of leadership cannot be overlooked. The success of Greek military campaigns often hinged not just on the skill of individual soldiers or the effectiveness of the phalanx, but also on the brilliant generals and strategists who commanded them. From the battlefield to the council chambers, Greek leaders were responsible for making split-second decisions that could alter the course of entire wars. Their strategic minds, charisma, and ability to inspire their troops played an indispensable role in ensuring Greek military success. The strategic genius of Themistocles, one of the most influential military leaders in Greek history, was Themistocles, the Athenian general who masterminded the Battle of Salamis in 480 BCE. Themistocles understood that naval power would be the key to defeating the Persian Empire, which was threatening to swallow the Greek city-states. Recognizing the need to build a powerful fleet, Themistocles pushed Athens to invest in triremes. Even when many in the city-state were skeptical about the need for naval power, Themistocles' foresight paid off when the Persian fleet, led by King Xerxes, advanced toward Greece. Rather than engage in a traditional land battle where the Greek army might be outnumbered, Themistocles devised a cunning plan to fight at sea. He lured the Persian fleet into the narrow straits of Salamis, where their larger, slower ships would be at a disadvantage. By using the narrow waters to his advantage, Themistocles was able to destroy much of the Persian fleet, securing a critical victory for the Greeks. This victory at Salamis was a turning point in the Persian Wars, and it demonstrated Themistocles' ability to think beyond conventional tactics. His strategic brilliance not only saved Greece, but also solidified Athens as a major naval power in the ancient world. Pericles and the power of democracy in warfare. Another key figure in Greek military history was Pericles, the Athenian statesman who led Athens during its golden age. Pericles understood the deep connection between Athens' military success and its democratic system. His leadership style was focused on strengthening the city-state's naval power and ensuring that the citizens, particularly the lower classes, had a significant role in defending the city. Under Pericles' guidance, Athens built a formidable navy and expanded its influence across the Mediterranean. He also encouraged the use of democratic principles in the army, allowing common citizens to have a greater say in military matters. This was revolutionary at the time, as most armies were dominated by aristocratic officers. Pericles' leadership made Athens' military system more inclusive and reflective of its broader democratic ideals. Pericles also promoted a long-term strategy of defense and expansion through alliances, most notably with the Delian League, a coalition of Greek city-states formed to resist Persian aggression. Under his leadership, Athens became the leader of this alliance, and Pericles used its collective power to secure Greek interests in the Aegean and beyond. Alexander the Great, the pinnacle of Greek military leadership. When it comes to Greek military leaders, Alexander the Great stands as the ultimate symbol of both leadership and strategy. Born in 356 BCE in Macedonia, Alexander was tutored by the philosopher Aristotle and was well-versed in Greek philosophy, science, and military strategy. When Alexander ascended to the throne at a young age, he He inherited a well-trained army and the legacy of his father, Philip II, who had already begun to unify the Greek city-states. However, it was Alexander's boldness, vision, and military genius that would take Greek warfare to unprecedented heights. His conquests, which stretched from Greece to Egypt, Persia, and all the way to India, reshaped the world and created one of the largest empires in history. Alexander's brilliance lay not only in his ability to fight battles, but also in his innovative approach to warfare. One of Alexander's most famous tactics was his use of the combined arms approach, which integrated infantry, cavalry, and siege weapons to create a versatile and dynamic fighting force. At the Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BCE, Alexander faced a much larger Persian army led by King Darius III, despite being outnumbered. Alexander's forces won decisively by using his cavalry to outflank and overwhelm the Persians. The impact of Greek warfare extends far beyond the ancient world. The strategies, tactics, and innovations developed by the Greeks laid the foundation for military practices that would influence future empires, from Rome to Byzantium and beyond. The Greek phalanx, naval tactics, and the leadership of figures like Alexander the Great have continued to shape military thought throughout history. Greek warfare taught us the importance of unity, discipline, and the power of strategic thinking. Their ability to adapt to new challenges, whether on land or at sea, has made their military techniques some of the most studied and respected in history. Even today, military leaders look to ancient Greek warfare as a source of inspiration and wisdom. As we reflect on the stories of legendary battles and the commanders who led them, one thing is clear: Greek warfare was not just about conquering lands. It was about mastering the art of war itself. The lessons learned from their campaigns continue to resonate in the strategies of modern warfare, proving that the legacy of the Greeks is as relevant today as it was in the ancient world.